So we're on our way back from New Jersey, and we're currently in the random parking lot of a random Home Depot somewhere in New York, Connecticut border area. Because since I did the front end work on the Cube, there's been this whoop 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 noise in the right front. I thought it was a wheel bearing. Changed the wheel bearing, absolutely no change. Looked over everything, checked the tightness. I've checked the tightness on everything. No indication whatsoever. And then just now, just driving along, it suddenly is a lot worse. Not really shaking the vehicle, but vibration you could really feel through it. And then I coasted off the highway. When I braked at the end of the highway, it vibrated violently. Horrible noise. So right now we're trying to get the car in the air on the little crappy jack so that I can take a look, because I've looked, and does it let me flip the thing while I'm talking to you? No, I don't think it does. But I've looked and I can't see anything obviously wrong. So we got to get the wheel off to see if we can figure out what the hell it is. Well, found it. This is clearly my problem. This upper, ignore the lower one, I've been taking it out. This upper bolt was gone when I took the wheel off. So like I said, I changed the wheel bearing. I must not have gotten that one tight enough. That was definitely not the source of my initial noise, but that bolt backed itself out, and then this dropped, and that was my initial noise. And then when I would hit the brakes, this would violently tip forward and smash itself into the inside of the rim. You can see the damage, the scrapes. So the good thing is, since we're at a Home Depot, that's why I'm taking the lower one out. With a bit of luck, I can pull that one out, get a match for it, and if I have to, buy a tool set. And if I can just get another bolt that fits, we'll be right back on the road. Best possible disaster, I guess, is the best way to put this. All right, well, credit to the New Rochelle Home Depot. That turns out where we are. They had exactly what I needed. Turns out that bolt is an M12 by 125. They had it the right length. The original bolt had a shoulder, so I needed to put a washer on it. They had one just enough longer than the original that I could put a washer on it. I got some brake cleaner to clean out the holes, because I think what happened, this was wet when it came out, so I think that the stuff I sprayed when I did the original axle, because I had to spray that with penetrating oil, I think that penetrating oil got down into the threads of this, and I think these might have been wet when I took them out to do the wheel bearing and never thought about them and put them back in, and I think that's why it backed out. So I'm going to clean the holes out with brake clean and just belt and suspenders. I'm going to thread lock them in. I ended up buying 2 bolts because the new ones are 19 mil, the old one is a 17, and it was cheaper to buy 2 new bolts than it was to buy a 17 and a 19 mil wrench to put the 2 of them in. Plus the other one's not that great anyway, so I don't feel bad. These are 8.8 grade, so they're going to be a good solid bolt. So I should be able to just slap this back together and be back on the road. But clearly I need to redo the brakes here. Like I was noticing this when I did the wheel bearing, these rotors are actually in pretty rough shape. They got a lot of rust on them. The back is got a curve almost to it, the way it's worn. So I won't be surprised if this rotor is my whoop 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 sound. And that would actually have increased the odds of vibrating the bolt loose, because if this was shaking this, because everything is very slightly differently aligned with new parts, that could have been what caused this to back out. But I think I'm going to need to put new pads and rotors on both sides. But right now, I just want to get this fixed and get home. Oh, gel thread locker. It looks like the world's worst, like, Blistex, but supposedly this stuff doesn't drip, which, if true, oh yeah, this is great. It goes on like a paste, basically. That's so much better. Weighs so much less with that. Also, the cap has a pin in it that'll seal it nicely. So I'm gonna have to keep an eye out for the red version of this because that's amazing. That's a great upgrade. So we're on vacation, and I literally thought about, man, I should bring a camera, you know, just in case there's something to film. Because last year we went, on the way home, we went to the site of the 1964 New York World's Fair, which is a thing I'm slightly obsessed with. And I hadn't brought a camera. I filmed some stuff on my phone, but none of it really came out great. And I didn't end up putting a video together from it. So this year I was like, oh man, I should definitely bring a camera, you know, just in case. And then I was going to film changing out the wheel bearing, so I stuck my camera on a mount on the side of the cube so I could film and see if I can get the sound well on video. And then backing out of where the cube was in the driveway to get around some of the other vehicles, I managed to somehow knock the camera mount off and then drive over it and crush the camera completely and destroy it. Like the whole back screen's all bashed in. And I have two cameras, but at that point I had no interest in filming anymore because I was just kind of annoyed at myself. And so I was like, I'll grab the other camera and bring it. And I was like, I don't really want to. I'm kind of still bummed about having wrecked that camera. And, you know, like, what am I going to film? First off, we went to the New York's Transit Museum in Brooklyn. Recommended highly. Lots of really cool subway and bus stuff. That would have been great to film. And right now I'm filming this on my phone. So maybe bring the camera either in case something interesting happens or as incentive for the universe not to have something interesting happen. I don't know. This is working, it's just taking forever because there's not much room for this wrench in here. Yeah, we literally were in the socket and wrench aisle trying to figure out what is the cheapest way to install this. Unfortunately, what I was hoping for is a really crappy toolkit, you know, for not that much money, but apparently that's just not a thing anymore. Like, even the cheapest ones they had were fairly expensive, at least ones big enough to have 17s and 19s in them. And by fairly expensive, I mean like $60, but I don't need a $60 toolkit for they had cheap sockets, but then the handles were expensive. So then, like I said, we were looking at the wrenches, and it just ended up being cheaper to buy a second $3 bolt than to buy a second $9 wrench. And I don't regret it because I think this is actually a better fix in the end. And I just realized I can't functionally tighten the other side because I didn't buy the 17, but the other side I don't think is going to be an issue. I am going to go reach under that side and grab at the bolts and see if they seem like they're backing out, but I can't think of why they would. I didn't use the lubricant on that side, and the noise has always come from this side, so I think we're done. I think it's just, now it's throw the wheel back on, tighten the lug nuts down, and then get back on the road. I'm really glad this caliper is not damaged. It's got some marks, but it's not damaged. I'm going to double check the inside of the wheel, but I don't think the wheel got any real damage either. And then, so as far as disasters go, this was a pretty good one. If I had to have something go horribly wrong with my brakes, this is the best possible outcome, I think. So I think this is it. I'll talk to you all later. Bye.